Okay, so what is the difference between renewable and non-renewable? It's your exam. We're going to write. What's the difference between renewable and non-renewable? Ripsy, this one is for foundation higher. Ripsy, just the last two parts of the question wasn't. So remember I said I would tell you when something was not in the foundation paper. Okay, renewable can be replenished. Yes, beautiful. So renewable can be replenished. Nice, good job. And what replenished means, it's just a fast way of saying replaced. Okay, so it's just a fast way of saying replaced. Okay, whereas non-renewable, what that one means is it can not be replenished. Careful, Sophie, you can't actually write that. Will not be replenished quickly. Okay, some of you said run out. If you write run out in your test, they'll not give you the marks, right? Because it's not run out. Okay, can't write run out. It's replenished or replaced. Okay, so can't be replenished, can't be replaced. Think about what non-renewable. So tell me a non-renewable that we know for sure can't be replenished quickly. What non-renewable? Replenished, unbothered means replaced. What non-renewable can't? Yeah, coal, fossil fuels. Good job. How long does it take to make or replace fossil fuels? Fossil fuels are things like your coal, things like your oil, things like your gas. How long does it take to replace these things? Yeah, good job, guys. Brilliant. That takes millions. That takes millions of years. Millions of years. So that's why we call it non-renewable, because it takes millions of years to get more of it. Yeah, beautiful. Good job. Okay. Why is burning fossil fuels harmful to the environment? So look at my picture. Why is burning fossil fuels harmful to the environment? Why is burning fossil fuels harmful to the environment? Yeah, good job, guys. Brilliant. Because what happens, nice people said it, it releases greenhouse. That was really nice. It releases greenhouse gases. Yeah, nice. Beautiful. Yeah, Josie, nice. Those greenhouse gases, what we call it is CO2. So we know that from our chemistry. What is CO2? Everyone's writing CO2, but do we know what it actually is? What does it stand for? Green CO2 is our greenhouse gases, or you can say it releases pollution. Yeah, thank you. Good job. Yeah, brilliant, guys. Easy. Yeah, keep going. Nice. That's going to be our carbon. Yep, add a nice. That's our carbon dioxide. So dioxide is when they're two. So we can see here, there's loads of pollution here, right? That's loads of pollution. That pollution is things like carbon dioxide. That's things like our greenhouse gases. Okay, so those greenhouse gases, they're really harmful. Why are greenhouse gases harmful? Why are greenhouse gases harmful? What do the greenhouse gases do? Yep, they cause sea levels to rise. Good job. It causes global warming. Glenn here, nice. Well, yeah, so steam and carbon dioxide, both of them come out. If it's a bit grey, it would be carbon dioxide. Melt ice caps, the greenhouse effect, really nice, good job. So the main thing is it causes global warming. Global warming means it causes the whole Earth to increase in temperature. Right, and you can see that here. It says some radiation gets absorbed by the Earth's surface. So it gets absorbed by the Earth's surface. That radiation gets absorbed and causes it to heat up. Okay, so what we're getting is radiation from the sun is coming in. That really short radiation from the sun is coming in. And what's happening is normally it gets reflected off the Earth and just travels straight back out into space. But because we have loads of carbon dioxide in the Earth, what's happening is it's absorbing, yeah, Mally, would it now? It's absorbing that carbon dioxide absorbing all that heat, and it's reflecting it back down towards the Earth, and that's why it's getting hotter. So that's what a picture is. So if the whole Earth is getting hotter in global warming, it's causing ice caps to melt, it's causing sea levels to rise, and that's why it's destroying habitats like these polar bears, right? These polar bears. Yeah. So again, greenhouse effect is what we were saying up here. Just make sure we're good. We're saying that we're going to have this really short, high energies coming off the sun. What's going to happen is they're going to normally get reflected off the Earth. But because we've got more greenhouse gases, they're reflecting them back towards the Earth, and it causes all of it to increase in temperature. So it's just the words in this picture is what you need to know if you're looking for the greenhouse effect. Yeah, the greenhouse effect. Yeah, always do bullet points. Always do bullet points. Okay, so we did say we go to half past, so I'm pretty sure we can do this one. We said we go to half past. We can do it. Half past. Half past. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Okay, half past. 2 more minutes. We go, guys. Let's go. Good job. Nice. Solar panels. Solar panels. Wind. Thank you. Wind turbines. Nice, nice guys. Miriam, nice. Tidal. Geothermal, Emmy. Beautiful. I like that one. Geothermal. That was a nice one. Good job. Tidal, wind turbines, hydroelectric, Barrett. Good job. Here is my hydroelectric. Nice, my hydroelectric. Yeah, always in bullet point playthings. Yeah, always in bullet points. Geothermal, windmills, solar energy, tidal energy. Nice, good job. Yes, nice one. We haven't mentioned there is nuclear energy. Nice. Another one is nuclear we didn't mention. Ah, good job, Pranav. Nice. Another we didn't mention was a biofuel. Nice, beautiful. Okay, so it says name some alternative energy source and how are they used? So nice, we've all named them now. So can you tell me how we use them? Pop in the chat and you know, how do we use these? How do we use these? What? It is Shreyas. I didn't say name some renewable. Yeah, thank you for adding that, Shreyas. Nuclear is actually non-renewable. Why is nuclear non-renewable? So these are just alternative to fossil fuels. I'm not saying they're all renewable. They're alternative to fossil fuels. Jayhim, we're going to do it right now. Why is it non-renewable? What is the fuel? Yeah, good job. So the fuel is we use uranium. Where do we get uranium from? Where do we get that uranium from? Yeah, it requires uranium, Patel. Yeah, it requires uranium. Where do we get that uranium from? Yeah, Bella, we dig it up from the ground, right? We dig up from the ground. So eventually, if we keep digging up all of these rocks from the ground, eventually we're going to be run out of them, right? We can't replace them quickly. So that's why your nuclear is a non-renewable one. Good job. However, the rest of them are renewable. Okay, so a few people asked, what is biofuel? Can anyone help us out? What is biofuel? Chunky cat, good job. Nuclear energy releases much more energy, much more energy, much more energy per kilogram of fuel. That's why we like to use it. We get so much more energy. Yeah, thank you, Elgato. Good job. Biofuel, it comes from plants. It comes from burning the plants. Good job. Burning the plants or from burning crops. Anyone from the full course remember where was the weird one that uses biofuel? Do you remember me telling you it's on in Bristol? What does something in Bristol use? Does anyone remember from the full course? We learned about biofuel in the full course, and I said there was something in Bristol that uses biofuels. Do you remember? Yeah, it was a bus, Kayo. Yeah, good job. So there's actually a bus in Bristol that runs on human poo. So there's a bus in Bristol that runs on human poo. Yeah, so what we do is that we burn the poo or we burn the plants. And what do we do? Why do we burn the poo or burn the plants? How do we get a bus to run off that? When we burn the poo or we burn the fuel, what happens when we burn? No, there's not actually poo in the bus. When we burn the poo, or let's say we got poo or feces, when we burn the poo, yeah, good job. We're going to burn it and we're going to get thermal energy. What do we use the thermal energy for? Yeah, good job. We're going to get there, Noah. Why do we burn things? What do we use the thermal energy for? No, the bus doesn't smell because this happens in a power station. So in a station, we burn the fuel to boil water. Good job. Nice. We burn the fuel to heat up water. Why do we want to heat up water? Why do we burn things to heat up water? What does the water change into? Yes, clips. Beautiful. Good job. We burn the water. Yeah, nice, Florence, to turn to steam. That steam, everyone's got it now. That steam turns a turbine. Nice. And that turbine spins a generator. And that's how we generate our electricity. And then that's what's used for the bus. So the bus uses electricity because the electricity came from the poo being burned, right? I'm not saying the bus has poo on it and they're not burning the poo in the bus to heat water to turn a turbine. The poo was burned in a different station in the UK, in the United Kingdom. And then that was used to make electricity. and the electricity is what the bus runs on. So yeah, there's a bus in Bristol that runs from human poo. The electricity came from human poo. Okay, geothermal. What's that one? Geo's got to do with something, and thermal's got to do with something. Geothermal comes from what? Geothermal comes from what? A poo bus. What does geothermal come from? The earth. Good job. So it's energy because of the earth. How do we get energy from the earth? Yeah, it's energy from underground. Hot springs. Beautiful. Good job. Underground energy. Yeah, good job. Energy from deep in the earth. So deep in the earth, we have places that are super hot, right? Super hot. And what do we use that heat for? So deep down the earth, it's super hot. What do we use that heat for? Think about it. What do we use that heat for? Yeah, in the mantle. Good job. That mantle's that bit that's super hot. What do we use that heat for? Yeah, we use it to boil water. We use it to boil water to do what? To make steam. Beautiful, guys. We use it to make steam to turn a turbine. Yeah, good job. Once we turn a turbine, we spin a generator. Good job. Nice. Hopefully everyone's okay with solar. Solar panels use the sun. Wind clearly uses the wind. And hydro is due with water. So what we do is we keep that water really high up. And when the water drops down, what energy transfer there happens? What does hydrothermal, what energy transfers? If the water is really high up and it drops down. Yeah, is that dams? Yeah, good job. What type of energy? Yeah, Bella, thank you. What they're using is using the gravitational potential energy from things really high above the ground, and it's going into kinetic energy when things are moving. Yeah, beautiful. Guys, good. Nice.